Let me tell you how a cedar fence 8 grand and one particularly vindictive neighbor nearly broke me, and how a little poison ivy, yes, that poison ivy, ended up teaching my whole neighborhood what justice smells like, or honestly, what itches like. You want to know how to survive an HOA with claws settle in. This one's got everything: corruption, betrayal, and, well, a surprising amount of gardening. I'm Derek. I've spent 20 years in landscaping. Dirt under my nails, sunburn on my neck, the whole deal. You'd think that'd count for something when it came to planting a simple fence on my own property. Spoiler, it didn't. Not when Gloria runs the HOA like her own personal fiefdom, and definitely not when her new best friend Brittany, a real estate agent with an Olympic-level boundary problem, moves in next door. Let's rewind real quick. After my divorce, I bought a modest ranch house in Pinewood Springs, Colorado. Mountains out back, a quarter-acre to dig up, start fresh, plant, something that felt like home. I was getting up early, standing out on the deck, breathing that mix of pine needles and fresh coffee, just planning what to plant where. I spent months, literally months, turning that yard into a native garden. Wildflowers, native grasses, herbs that don't shrivel in Colorado sun. There was a rhythm to it. Like maybe finally I'd found a place I belonged. Then Brittany shows up. She's 40-something, always in crisp white BMW polished like a mirror, and apparently thinks property lines are more of a suggestion. First week, her 2 kids are running straight through my garden, soccer balls everywhere, tomato plants getting smashed, pepper steaks snapped in half. If you've ever felt the wet crunch of a homegrown tomato under your boot, you know it's personal. And her dog used my herb bed as a bathroom every single morning. But it gets better. Brittany installs these stadium-grade security lights on her garage, blasting my bedroom window with enough lumens to land a plane. I could see the individual threads in my bed sheets at 2 in the morning. I ask her, politely even, if she could just, maybe, angle them a little away from my house. She doesn't even look up from her phone. They're for safety, she says, while her kids are literally pelting mud at my fence. So I did what any guy who knows fences does. I drew up plans for a 6-foot cedar privacy fence. Classic. Beautiful. Would have made the property look better, boosted everyone's value, mine included. I've put up hundreds, and this one was the best design I'd ever done for myself. I send the whole package to the HOA, professional drawings, engineered specs, you name it. Should have been a no-brainer. But that's where Gloria comes in. Picture someone who irons their golf shirts and treats the HOA rulebook like it's the Constitution. Lives in the biggest house on the block, runs everything with an iron fist and a plastic smile. She and Brittany instant besties. Pilates golf wine on the deck, probably plotting how to make life harder for people who don't fit their aesthetic. Monday, I submit my fence plan. Wednesday, rejection in my mailbox. No reason. No here's how to fix it. Just a flat no something about neighborhood aesthetics. Friday, Brittany gets instant approval for 3 massive white plastic privacy screens. 8 feet tall, bright as a hospital, uglier than any fence I've seen. And they block my mountain view. Now I'm standing out there Friday night staring at Brittany's plastic wall, listening to her dog barking and her kids shrieking in the pool, and I realize this isn't about fences. It's not about property values or native flowers or any of that. It's about who you play golf with, who you drink wine with on Tuesday nights. And me, I'm not in that club. So, Saturday morning I make coffee, I pull out the HOA bylaws, and I start reading. Most people stop at page 2, but I'm not most people. I read municipal code for fun, and it turns out Gloria denied my fence based on a rule that doesn't even exist. Height limits only apply to front yards. I spend the afternoon taking pictures of every cedar fence in the neighborhood. 15 of them all approved, all the same design as mine. Then I look up Brittany's plastic screens. They break 3 rules: too close to the property line, wrong color, wrong material. But nobody cares. Because again, Tuesday night wine. Monday, I file an appeal. 12 pages, photos, documentation, everything. I even file a violation on Brittany's screens. Tuesday, my appeal's rejected. Wednesday morning, I find a violation notice taped to my door. Apparently, my wildflower meadow is now unsightly weeds, and I have 30 days to rip it all out or pay $500 a day in fines. Standing there in the morning sun with bees buzzing around my supposedly illegal wildflowers, something just snaps. You ever feel that? Where you realize you're not just fighting for a fence, but for basic fairness. for the right to drink your coffee in peace without worrying about which rule they'll invent next. And that's when I remember something my granddad used to say: nature's been building fences longer than any human ever did. So I start researching. Colorado has laws protecting native species restoration. If I'm planting to restore habitat, HOA can't touch it. Poison ivy, 100% native. Legally protected if you call it habitat restoration. I file for an environmental restoration permit. Drive down to the county office. The clerk, young dirt under her nails, a real plant person, reads my plan and actually smiles. Stamps it, says, "This permit supersedes HOA rules." Just like that. Friday, I head to Mountain View Native Nursery. The owner, Pete, has mulch in his beard and knows everything about native plants. When I mention poison ivy, he just grins. "Best privacy barrier you'll ever plant," he says. I grab a mix: Virginia creeper, wild grape, native honeysuckle, and a healthy supply of poison ivy starters. From the street, looks like professional landscaping. Up close, well, only if you're brave enough to find out. Planting day. Brittany's watching me through her window like a hawk with a grudge. By noon, she's outside, phone in hand, filming everything I do. "What are you planting?" she demands. "Native habitat restoration," I reply. She frowns, but the only green she can identify is money, not plants. Next week, she's on a mission. Noise complaints. Parking her car halfway across my driveway. Her kids accidentally kicking soccer balls straight into my new plantings. But native plants, they're survivors. Especially poison ivy. And here's the kicker: a couple of soccer balls and a little foot traffic just toughens them up. But the real twist: Gloria tries to get my permit revoked, claiming I'm endangering kids. County sends out Sandra, an environmental inspector. She comes by, clipboard and all, and I walk her through every plant, every form, every line of the law. "This is impressive work," she finally says. "Meets every standard. Any interference, and it's a federal crime." She hands me a compliance certificate. I post it right on the HOA bulletin board next to Gloria's latest lecture on community standards. Suddenly, people start noticing. Elena, the quiet HOA secretary, shows up with a manila folder. Years of Gloria's illegal activities, hidden meetings, missing money, fake assessments. She's been quietly building a case, just waiting for someone to fight back. Turns out Gloria's been siphoning off HOA funds into Brittany's company for consulting. That never happened. $47,000 in 18 months. Frank, the retired attorney down the street, joins in. Gloria blocked his wife's accessibility ramp for aesthetics. We start digging deeper. Frank finds the original developer agreement: as long as a restoration project meets state environmental standards, HOA can't stop it. Gloria never had the authority she thought she did. Meanwhile, Brittany's still at war. One night, I hear her spraying something near the property line, industrial herbicide, hoping to kill my plants. Next day, the only thing thriving is, you guessed it, poison ivy. Resistant as hell, and now with more space to grow since the competition is gone. I file a police report. Environmental crime. Officer watches the video, shakes his head, and tells Brittany she's facing federal charges if she tries it again. And while all this is happening, the neighborhood starts to change. Mrs. Tessa, 3 doors down, brings her grandkids to see the wildlife garden. The local environmental group writes about my project in their newsletter. Property values go up. People start asking me to help them plant native barriers. My business takes off. The poison ivy guy, that's me now, suddenly booked out for months. But Brittany and Gloria, they're getting desperate. Brittany convinces a handful of neighbors that my restoration is a public safety hazard, organizes a removal party to pull up my plants. They do it all on video, bare hands, no gloves. You can imagine how that played out. By the barbecue that weekend, half the crew is scratching like they rolled in fiberglass, and Gloria's so swollen she looks like she lost a fight with a beehive. The pièce de résistance, the barbecue itself. News cameras, environmental students, the whole neighborhood gathered for a demonstration. Gloria hires a fake landscaping crew, really just Brittany's brother-in-law in some borrowed costumes, to save the children by ripping out my federally protected plants. They do it on live TV. Moments later, the sheriff and federal investigators arrive. Handcuffs, charges for environmental crime, embezzlement, conspiracy, you name it. Standing there with the smell of barbecue smoke and poison ivy flowers drifting on the breeze, I finally breathe easy. Gloria's led away in handcuffs. Brittany's hit with fines so high she has to move, and the neighborhood, for the first time since I arrived, feels like home. Elena becomes HOA president, Frank the treasurer. The fines they stole get refunded. My restoration project becomes a model for the whole county. Universities send students to study it. And me, I marry Elena the following spring, right there in the backyard, surrounded by the most beautiful, untouchable poison ivy display you've ever seen. My business grows 300%. We start a fund for free native landscaping for seniors and the disabled. The community comes together in a way I never thought possible. 5 years later, I still stand on my deck, coffee in hand, watching butterflies and birds in a garden that outlasted every bully and every bad rule. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's building something beautiful, permanent, and legally untouchable. Creating a place where justice blooms, and the only thing left to fear is underestimating someone who really knows their plants. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Have you ever had to go toe-to-toe with a power-tripping HOA or a neighbor who just wouldn't quit? Where's the line between defending your home and breaking the rules? Drop your wildest HOA war stories below. Maybe, just maybe, we can learn a little from each other and let Mother Nature handle the rest.